Welcome to 28 Storms. This is your tropical weather update for Friday, July 8th. Before we break down the tropics, I just want viewers, and especially our viewers on YouTube, to take note of a new YouTube function that we've added to the front page of 28storms.com. This latest feature adds the most recent video near the top, and it also displays the most recent 8 videos that have been uploaded to the YouTube channel. And all this is done automatically, so no work has to really be done to make this happen anymore. And you can also do a search for some of the most recent videos by clicking from page to page. So at this point, there's really no point in even going to the YouTube channel. Everything is accessible right here on 28storms.com, and this is just another effort to make things very accessible for all of our viewers. Turning to the tropics now, we look pretty good out there. 96L Invest is now being given probabilities of development at near 0%, as it looks like a total disorganized mess of a system, if you even want to call it a system at this point. And the tropical wave that we're monitoring near the Windward Islands is showing no signs of development either, so they're no longer highlighting that feature. But that doesn't change the overall mindset that if that wave were to do anything, it would be more so in the medium range near Central America, although there's really no signs of any of that happening either. And there's a new tropical wave by the looks of it exiting the coast of Africa, but it's moving into an environment that really isn't conducive for development in the central or eastern Atlantic just yet. The only notable storm is Tropical Storm Calvin. It was upgraded yesterday afternoon, but once again Calvin is expected to move out to sea and be no threat to land, but we'll still take a look at it. Much of the basin is quiet on satellite. We still have a lot of disorganized convection over the eastern Gulf of Mexico, but as you can see, there is no symmetry at all to it. It's more linear and drawn out from southwest to northeast into the central half of the Florida Peninsula. So areas like Orlando and Tampa are definitely seeing an increase in rain compared to what we've been having over the last few months. And that's thanks to the presence of this upper level low to the south of Louisiana, and it's really stretching out this surface trough, and it's not allowing any surface circulation to maintain itself or begin to intensify. In fact, the very weak surface circulation that we saw on Visible yesterday afternoon had fallen apart completely by the time the Visible became available this morning. And this system is looking gradually worse, and it's simply not going to develop. If anything, this is a good system to have around because it's giving much of Florida the much needed rainfall that it deserves. And if we look at the latest precipitation forecast from HPC, they are expecting an upwards of about 3 inches near the Big Bend of Florida, and this trough is expected to ride up the east coast of the United States, at least into the Carolinas, where they also need the rain. So overall, this is a good system to have around. These are the latest stats on Tropical Storm Calvin, and Calvin has overachieved a little bit and now has maximum sustained winds of 70 miles per hour, making it that a very strong tropical storm, and it is in fact now expected to become a minimal hurricane for a brief period within the next 12 hours before it begins to weaken Saturday and Sunday over cooler waters and more unfavorable upper level atmospheric conditions. It's moving off toward the west at 17 miles per hour. Calvin is well on its way to becoming a hurricane. As we see on the latest couple frames of the Visible, we see a ragged eye-like feature beginning to develop in the middle of the central dense overcast that you can see fairly well on the latest enhanced infrared. And also the upper level environment actually does appear to be a bit more favorable today. I wasn't giving this system as much credit as it deserved because it will be becoming a hurricane, more than likely by the next Hurricane Center advisory. And it looks like conditions over the next 6 to 12 hours are favorable enough for steady, slow development before it runs into this wall of dry air and a bit stronger southwesterly wind shear. You're now looking at the latest microwave satellite pass, and as you can see, that eye is definitely beginning to develop, and I think this is more than enough evidence for the National Hurricane Center to upgrade Calvin to a Category 1 by the next advisory. Much of the early morning intensity model guidance did not agree with this becoming a minimal hurricane. As you can see, this is the Category 1 threshold, and most of the models began to show some weakening as early as within the first 12 hours or later this evening, but it looks like some of the upper end models, especially around here, are going to verify with this becoming a 65 to 70 knot Category 1. The good news is that Calvin can become as strong as it wants to, and we can see some really nice satellite imagery for the next 24 hours without having to worry about anyone being directly impacted by the storm. As you can see, every single reliable model member takes this system out to sea. Today's Canadian CMC forecast does not show anything too appealing if you're a tropical weather enthusiast. It does take that tropical wave near the Windward Islands westward, but directly into the heart of Central America, which really limits the ability for this system to develop. Now, it will be interesting to see if the models deviate any to the south or to the north, and this could be a player either in the Gulf of Mexico or the Eastern Pacific Hurricane Basin. But as of right now, the models are taking it straight inland without any development, and the rest of the tropical Atlantic appears quiet for the next 7 days. If we switch gears to the GFS, it shows much of the same. Our tropical disturbance or tropical wave-like feature continues to parallel the coast of South America, and then by the end of the run it shows up over Central America, much like it was noted on the Canadian CMC run. The only halfway noteworthy thing of additional importance on the GFS is toward the very end of the run it begins to amplify some of the tropical waves exiting Africa a bit more toward the 5 to 7 day period as we see out here. But sometimes the GFS has the tendency to do this a bit earlier than it should as we get toward the mid and latter half of July, and sometimes the model will verify, but a lot of times the activity will also wait to really happen out there until early August. It looked like we could get an early start to the Cape Verde hurricane season, or at least activity to the east of the Lesser Antilles by mid-July, and I still stand by that because the evidence was there, but as of right now the models are not picking up on anything. The 12Z European shows much of the same. We don't see any organized features down here. We do see that by 72 hours that tropical wave may be enhancing the lower pressures here near Honduras and Nicaragua, but just as the CMC and GFS indicated, it spreads inland without doing much, and then possibly by day 8 or day 9 we may see more lowering of pressures here near the Gulf of Tehuantepec, which could set the stage for tropical development down the road in the Eastern Pacific, but that is really far out and 8 to 10 days away, while much of the Gulf, Caribbean, and Atlantic still appear to be quiet. So that is your tropical weather update for this Friday. Go ahead and check out 28storms.com for more updates on Calvin, along with the rest of the tropics, including a new video by tomorrow afternoon. And in the meantime, go ahead and familiarize yourself with the new YouTube function at the top of the web page. And any feedback would also be welcome. So thanks again for checking by. Have a good weekend.